I'd like to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone this evening. Things will be just beginning a little bit different. This is our organizational meeting, and so for the first few minutes, I will be running the meeting and then passing the gavel. So, first I'd like to start with roll call. Trustee Mary Crowell.
Present.
Trustee Bud Byfield. Present. Trustee Eric Eischen.
Here.
Trustee Deanne Maynard.
Here.
Trustee John Wayne Stewart.
Here.
Trustee Erica Willard.
Here.
And Trustee James Woods.
Here.
And Superintendent Jeff Manton.
Here.
Stand for the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any comments or concerns of citizens that are present this evening? With none, we will move on to our election of officers. First one will be for president. And as we start moving into our election of officers, please keep in mind what you would expect from the qualifications for the position. So at this time, and Loretta will keep track of our votes for us. So we'll have that tally. And with that, it's time to open the floor open the board for nominations for president.
I'd like to nominate Deanne for president.
Do you have support?
I'll support.
I'd like to nominate Eric Eischen.
I'll support. Do we have a vote to close nominations or just
Oh,
close?
I move that we close nominations. I'll second that.
Just a roll call vote for Deanne. Mary Crowell,
Yes, Deanne.
Bud Byfield,
No.
Eric Eischen.
Can we move to discussion?
I'm sorry?
Can we have discussion?
Yeah.
Oh, certainly.
I just think that this is something that we want to talk about because obviously there's two people that could do this position. I think Deanne would be great with it. I think that I did a good job last year as well. So I just want to make sure that before we actually went into the votes that we had a chance to have everybody talk about it in public and see what we wanted and what we expected and go from there.
I agree too. I was happy with Eric as president. I feel that I could also do an equal job of that, but I'm not at all concerned if Eric has the board's approval to be the president again. So I'd be happy to serve you as your president, or I'd be happy to serve under Eric. So I just want everybody to understand that it's not
I guess as a newcomer, I'd like to hear what each of them think the job of president is. I guess whoever wants to go play this first, I guess.
Really the role of the president is to organize the agenda for the meetings and to disseminate information, to work with the superintendent. I think it's really the pulling the whole board together, I guess, is what I see the president's role is, and disseminating information.
I think Deanne's right with that, and I also think that the president, whether it's me or anybody else, needs to be a confidant for Jeff, the superintendent, and make sure that he or she plays the role of a sounding board so that Jeff can bring ideas to you that he wants to do with the school district and kind of bounce them off you first, and then, and I feel like I did this last year, and I will be transparent that if I'm placed on the role of president again, I'll continue to use that mentality, but I think that too oftentimes, we think that we need to have the entire board know all of the information, and I think that the role of the president is one that helps to filter that information to the correct time too. Because if we jump into situations and have the full board start discussing them before we have all of the facts. One example that I would use with that for last year was when Susan Friend talked to me about purchasing the property next to Woodworth. So she brought it to me first, her and I talked about it, she asked what my opinion was, and then after her and I had a chance to discuss it, then we said, okay, now it's time for the full board to discuss it too. So I think that in addition to bringing the board together, you also need to be a confidant for Jeff and be very frank with him. If you disagree with something, or if you think that the direction that he's trying to lead is not the right one, but then also know when it's your time to step back and let him bring it to the full board as well. And I also, you know, I think that Deanne would be great for this role. And I've said before that, frankly, it's not a position that I really want. It is a lot of work. I wouldn't say so much that it's stress, but I do think that with the work that we've done last year, that I would be comfortable leading it for another year too, because we have made a lot of progress, and I don't want to give that up too, hurt the progress.
The only thing I would say, and can I comment to that, Bob?
Sure.
Okay, is I think part of what Jeff is doubly important. I think if he doesn't have someone that he can discuss things with and use that president as a sounding board, I think there's certain information we have to have, but I think that he and the president have to determine when that gets to us and in a timely fashion. The other thing I would say, I just think that this board has did a good job this last year with Eric Lee, as we settled the contract. We got a new superintendent. I mean, there's a litany of things that we did, and I think we need to reflect on that sometimes as we decide who we're going to vote for.
The last thing that I forgot about this too is that the board president also speaks for the board. So the board president's role is to handle questions from the media. And I look at Jen because frankly, she is very easy to work with. She's very straightforward whenever I have conversations with her. But I'll also be blunt that other newspapers in the area aren't as accommodating as Jen. And I feel sometimes that those newspapers do a little bit to spin the story in a direction that might not be most advantageous for the district. So you have to be very careful about how you approach the media. Fortunately for Jen, I don't feel like I have to do that with her. I think she has a good relationship with the board because I think she has a vested interest in our community and wants to portray what is going on in an accurate and factual manner and not in necessarily a malicious manner.
Any other discussion?
A board president has to be an independent thinker, has to inform the board of issues and situations, be able to bring the board together and help form a cohesive board, value every board member, communicate, 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 communicate.
Anything else?
Well, you guys all have very valid topics. All of you made a good point. I think the board president is very time consuming. And, I want the board president to be accommodating to any need within the district. So, that's the biggie for me. Eric, you've done a wonderful job. We've done some wonderful things. And I feel that Deanne could have done just as good of a job. You know, what you did is where we're at. A settled contract, like John said. But, you know, with your support and Jeff's support, Deanne's and the district a little bit more. And, you know, it's hard to contact you.
I think that regardless of who the person is, that it will be important at one of our first workshops to maybe talk about the communication and how we feel, or maybe have that open conversation about the issues that we feel we would like to know more about in advance. And then maybe have that two-way conversation regardless of who the person is that's the president, so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page. And because I said this was my first year, so I don't know that I don't know something or that I should know something. So I think it would be good to have that conversation about the things that we feel we should be apprised of from the superintendent or the president of the board.
And I guess I would just like to say, I would be happy to serve as the president, and I know Eric would be happy to serve as the president, and I'd be happy to support him. But what I would ask that no matter how this vote comes out, that whichever one of us becomes the president, that they have full support of the board. Because I think that's more important than anything, so.
Well, we had a split vote last year, and we still all supported Eric, so I don't see why that would be a problem at all.
Is there any other discussion? No other discussion, let's start the vote, please.
Okay, I was at Eric. This is a roll call vote for Deanne.
And then Mary was yes, and Bud was no. And for right now, I will say no.
And as I said, I would support Eric if the board chooses Eric, but I will say yes for myself.
John?
No.
Erica?
No.
James?
Yeah.
So roll call vote for Eric as president. Bud?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Deanne?
No.
John?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
James?
No.
And Mary?
I was gonna say Mary.
A 4-3 vote. Mr. Reischen is president.
Congratulations.
We'll move on to nominations for vice president.
I move to nominate Deanne.
I'll second that. Are there any other nominations?
I'll move to close the nominations.
I'll second that.
Moved by Mary to close, seconded by Deanne to close. So we have moved by Erica, supported by James to nominate Deanne as vice president. And Loretta, roll call vote, please.
Eric Eisha?
Yes.
Deanne?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Erica?
Yes.
James?
Yeah.
Mary?
Yes.
Bud?
Yes.
Moving moving on to treasurer, are there any nominations to, for treasurer?
I'd like to nominate Erica Willard.
Support.
Moved by Deanne, supported by John. to
Right,
nominate-
supported by who?
John.
Supported by John, to nominate Erica. Are there any other nominations?
Move to close nominations.
Support.
Moved by Deanne, supported by John, to close the nominations. And roll call vote, Rod?
John,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Bud,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Deanne.
Yes. Congratulations, Erica.
Moving on to, secretary, are there any nominations for secretary?
I'll nominate Mary.
Moved by James,
I'll support.
supported by Deanne, to nominate Mary as secretary. Are there any other nominations?
I nominate John.
Moved by John, or I'm sorry, by Bud.
I did the same thing, I wrote John in there instead.
Moved by Bud, to nominate John.
Actually, I appreciate that, but Jeff and I were just having this conversation earlier tonight. Loretta really does
He'd
the
like to
work.
nominate
Really,
Loretta.
Really does the work. I appreciate that, thank you, God bless you, but I have no problem at all supporting Mary for that role, so.
I think you were pretty busy.
Well, it has nothing to do with that, it's just that it's really just a figurehead role, so,
Bud, would you like to start your nomination?
Yes.
thank you, Bud.
I move to close the nominations.
Moved by Deanne to close the nominations. I'll support closing the
Thank
nominations.
you.
And Loretta, roll call vote for secretary.
So this is for Mary,
Yes.
So moved by James, supported by Deanne to nominate Mary as secretary.
James,
Yeah.
Mary,
Yeah.
Bud,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Deanne,
Yes.
John,
Yes?
Erica.
Yes.
We'll move on to the appointment of the board committee memberships. This is in enclosure one. The first board committee is the Buildings and Grounds Committee, which is a committee of the whole. Is that the direction that the board wants to continue for this year? Committee of the whole?
I would.
I think so.
That seems to be the
That's
best.
I think it
Yeah,
works, been working fine.
works well that way.
I agree. And then the second one is the Finance Budget Committee, and that's also a committee of the whole.
I think that's an important committee to have the whole board involved in.
We did add the word, that was finance, and we added the word budget.
Okay.
Good idea.
Yes. The third one is the Superintendent Evaluation Committee, and this is currently the committee of the whole too.
But I have a question about that. I think when we, we wanna revamp our superintendent evaluation a little bit, do you think we have to all be involved in that process?
Mary's correct, it's not committee
We
of the
will
whole.
have to
It's
make
yeah,
A
but-
new evaluations for
Some
John this
kind,
year, right?
right.
But it's currently myself,
three, yeah.
it was myself, Mike, and I believe Deanne.
That was Tim, I
Oh,
think.
Tim,
To
okay.
work on the
Yeah, for the
evaluation?
evaluation.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with whether he's retained or not, it
Right.
was simply the form.
Right, we all
Yes.
review, but
Exactly.
it was the form that.
That's okay, isn't it?
So do
I
we
don't
want
see a problem with
to
that.
stick with, having 3 people be on the committee to review the evaluation?
Well, it would be committee as a whole, but 3 people would
Help
complete the form.
Or
Yes.
get the
Yes,
form
yeah.
together.
Yeah.
As long as it's public record,
Yep,
that's what we
yep.
wanna do.
Okay. And then do we wanna pick those 3 people tonight to get
Is
the,
that a good idea?
Sure.
is there anyone that's interested in being on that committee?
I'd like to see Bud on it. I think he brings a perspective as a business person and as a parent of 3 children who've been through here, I'd like to see Bud.
I think that'd be a good idea if Bud's willing to do
Okay
it.
with it?
I don't wanna volunteer you for something.
I'm good with it.
But we all have, opportunities to
Yes,
get
absolutely.
input.
I think it might be a good
Yes.
idea to have James on there, just because you went through the evaluations for the teachers.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You were sitting on that committee, so I think that would be a good idea if James as well.
So we're looking for the,
Then, yeah, I was gonna say a third person.
Would it be, it might be advantageous to have somebody that was on it last year.
Who was last year?
That was myself,
That'd be
Tim.
John.
and- Yeah, I'm certainly willing to be on it, because Barry is correct. It is a very loose, there isn't a lot to do unless it's an evaluating process that we have to bring to you, unless there's any changes. So, sure, it makes me no difference, that would be fine.
So then we have Bud, James, and John that will work together for that, and then bring it back to the whole board.
yeah.
Then the health committee,
We are gonna have to look at revising that to meet with the state requirements.
Yes.
Right, the current one, not even close to it.
So the next is the health committee, which is, it was Deanne last year.
Are you willing to do that again, Deanne?
I am, I would like to remain on the district advisory team, and I'm also now a member of the chamber board. So if anybody else wants to step into that role, I'm okay with that, but I can remain there. It's gonna be a pretty involved, role, because we're going over the middle school and elementary school health programs. And there's actually a vacancy as well.
Yeah,
There
'cause
was
there's an
supposed to be
alternate,
2
yeah.
people. There were supposed to
Oh,
be
it's
2
supposed to be
people
2.
on there, I believe.
Right, it was Mike last year.
It was supposed to be Mike and I, so.
Okay.
I'll be an alternate, but I have a lot on my plate with other things, but I'd be an alternate if,
I would take it.
would you do it?
So we would do Deanne and Bud,
Bud.
and then,
Mary
Okay,
will
then
be an
Mary is an alternate. That would help me out if I had an alternate that I could. Because I'm assuming that most of the meetings will be in the evenings, and once soccer season starts, I'm gonna get kind of tight.
For the health committee?
Well, yeah, because there has to be parents
Yeah,
on
that's
that
right, that's
committee,
right,
so most of those meetings are gonna happen in the evenings.
So are you gonna be the alternate? Or am
It's
I?
up to you.
I was saying Deanne and
Yeah,
Bud.
yeah,
you
yeah,
wanna
that's
be
great.
I will
alternate.
be on it, just because
Yeah,
I,
that's
great.
we just went through the high school, and that would probably be a good consistency to continue.
Okay, that's great.
And yeah, and Jeff knows how much I enjoy being on.
Yes. Alright, and then, number 5 is the district advisory team, which, Deanne is currently on, and then Mary is the alternate. And actually, was that your first year last year?
Yeah.
And this is a
Yeah.
2-year term, so
Oh, it
you
is.
would,
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
It's-
You're still on it. So
Thank you.
bad.
and then, Mary, do you wanna be the alternate, or do you wanna take you off that since you?
That doesn't, being an alternate isn't a problem. If Deanne
Usually I
can't
can
go,
make those
yeah, she
meetings,
usually
so
does, and
they're at
that I don't have a
3 o'clock in the
problem with it,
afternoon.
unless somebody else has a burning desire. Erica? You have a
The
burning?
time,
desire?
no, time doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And if my kids were here, they say the time doesn't work for me either, because sometimes they have to sit at Loretta's office.
Right. And then number 6 is the Leslie Area Educational Foundation, which last year was Mary, and then the alternate was Erica.
I would like to see Erica have an opportunity to do that. She
I-
had expressed a,
I can't this year, John, because I'm so involved in this project, and I'm treasurer, so
Right.
I
well,
really think.
I understand that, but I think then we should have 2 members then, because she has spent a year, she requested this committee last year. And there's no saying that the project's gonna be over this year. So I think that there'd be no reason why we can't have 2 members sit on that.
Could we check with them and see if that would be okay with them?
Probably we can, it's just that we have to be careful of the balance of community members and school members, but probably that would
Well,
work.
I would think you guys could share responsibility.
Maybe you could share the vote,
Yeah, I would
have
think
one
you guys
vote
could.
if there's something to vote on, but that you both could get the experience of being on there.
That's Thursday mornings.
scare her off.
No.
Enjoy the nomination before you scare her.
Is that something you're still interested in?
Yes.
So Jeff, can you look into that to see if they both?
I'll check with,
Sue.
Sue.
Okay. Number 7 is the Inland School Officers Association representative. And I think last year that was James and then Mary was the alternate. Are you still interested in that, James?
Yeah, I can do that.
Is anybody
Is
else?
there, yeah, is there anyone else that's interested?
Eric, is that something you'd be interested in? Eric or Erica maybe?
Was
Because I know that's, it's in the morning. Is that something you'd be interested in? It's Wednesday mornings, once a month.
I could do an alternate.
Okay.
I'd love to do the alternate.
I mean, anybody can go to these meetings. I mean, if anybody wants to go to the Eames School Officers Association, they're good meetings and there's a lot of information. But,
So we'll have, James as the representative and then Erica as the alternate. And then number 8 is the MASB Legislative Relations.
Now, this needs to be scratched, because there's no such thing.
I was actually thinking the exact same thing, because all that it is you go to the MASB Legislative Conference, which last year me, myself, and James all went to anyway, so, I agree with that. I wasn't sure if there was some, historical knowledge that,
We can keep it down to 8 committees, and we get committee deduct.
so,
You feel that?
we'll scratch that one. I would encourage anybody that is interested, though, to attend that legislative conference, because it's a really good one.
When is that?
It's in March, I think. And that might be because I'm biased, because I'm a policy wonk, but, I think.
That is probably the most informative thing.
yeah, it is.
You'll not regret the time that you spend sitting down.
And then number 9 is, well, the new number 8 is the, anti-bullying committee.
I'd like to retain that if you guys would allow me to do so. I've seen that we're going to actually set guidelines and I support those, but a great deal of my time and effort, even not outside of here, is devoted to that, and so I would like to retain that.
Great idea.
And what's this committee gonna consist of?
We're gonna be discussing that later this evening. It's,
Superintendent.
Jeff has put together a wonderful outline for how he would like to see that, and I concur with that, so I don't have it in front of me right now, it's here. Thank you.
And is there, the other option that I was thinking of too is that we could also have 2 board members that sit on it, but again, like the LAEF, if there's any concern about the balance of board members and community members, then it might be a good idea to have just one person, so.
I'm okay with John saying that.
Thank you.
And then Jeff will look for your direction later on. Okay, so we have the committees finalized and we'll move on to the consent agenda, which, this is a motion that the Board of Education approve the January 9th, 2012 agenda, the minutes of December 12th, 2011, the regular meeting, both open and closed, the bank accounts, services, per attached memo from Janet Yakum dated January 4th, 2012 from Independent Bank, the bills in the amount of $223,252.65 be approved for payment as presented, the P-card statement and the general fund budget report and food service fund budget report as of January 3rd, 2012.
Support.
Moved by Dan, supported by John, that the Board of Education approves the January 9th, 2012 agenda, the minutes of December 12th, 2011 regular meeting, both open and closed, the bank accounts services per attached memo from Janet Yakum dated January 4th, 2012 from Independent Bank, the bills in the amount of $223,252.65 be approved for payment as presented, the P-card statement, the general fund budget report, and food service fund budget report as of January 3rd, 2012. Is there any discussion?
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
On page 8 of the list of payments,
Which page?
page 8, list of payments.
The bills?
Yup, the bills. Check 2075, 2075. What was that for? The list of payments, Leslie Public Schools,
What was the number?
2075.
Grand Traverse Resort and Spa Athletic Concerns.
It says conference, I'm just,
That was
the,
Mace.
That was you?
Mace, yes, it was Mace, the Michigan Administrative Association for Special Education. It was a conference in Traverse City at the Grand Traverse Resort, August 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, or thereabouts.
Mhm.
but it's under athletic miscellaneous
I
expense.
have no idea why it's under that.
I'm just curious,
I
because
can check and see what's under athletic.
I assumed it was conference, but Scott went.
I promise I wasn't playing ball.
just-
Actually, I missed golf.
Well-
I'll be sad to tell you this.
I need to check because that's where the athletic directors conference is also.
Yeah,
Oh.
because this says
MIAA.
Yeah.
Oh, then
I
that's not
assumed
me.
it was.
Yeah.
Don't fess up, hold
Oh,
your,
okay.
hold your tongue.
That's
You went there
too though, right?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
then on page 7, check 2066. I'm just curious, it's board member per diem, and it says that I'm advertising, and I'm not quite sure what I'm advertising.
That's probably the paper for when you guys were doing the,
No.
No, it's
No.
per diem,
That's
though.
her.
No, I'm just curious, because everybody else is listed as board member salary, and mine is advertising, that's all.
Oh,
Just
yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it looks like there's a couple
Yeah, it just needs to
account
be
descriptions that,
reclassified.
yeah, 2066 and then the other one's 2075.
I mean,
It's just got the wrong account.
yeah, that's all. And I don't know if that's a problem in the end, who knows, I don't know.
If they don't
Yeah, I'll
catch it
get-
by the end, yes.
I'll get them reclassified, right?
It's still in the board section, but yeah. Yeah. A lot of times accounts catch that.
Are there any other questions or discussion? All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? And then moving on to correspondence. In enclosure 2, we have the school law notes. And in enclosure 3, we have intermediate school district board briefs. Then in enclosure 4, we have a thank you letter that I'm going to read. It's from the LAEF, or excuse me, LAEF. This is from Mr. Bonsteel and Mr. Schaefer from the math department for graphing calculators. It says, "Dear Sue, we would just like to say thank you for providing us with the resources to purchase a classroom set of graphing calculators. For the past few weeks, we have used them in classroom and have already noticed a significant difference in student learning. The students have been very excited and willing to use the calculators daily. Having the calculators in the classroom has actually prompted a few students to purchase one of their own. Thank you for your support and go Blackhawks." We appreciate the support from the LEF. And then enclosure 5 is the State Board of Education budget priority recommendations for 2012. And I'm not going to read the entire memo, but I do think that it's good to point out what their priorities are so that those in the audience can hear this as well. So they have 6 points, which first one is reward schools that demonstrate progress on student growth and achievement. Number 2 is support teacher quality and master teacher programs called for by the State Board and Governor Snyder. Number 3 is expand anytime, any place, any way, at any pace. Learning programs, including middle colleges, dual enrollment, and advanced placement, and international baccalaureate programs. Number 4 is reward schools and districts that have found cost savings in non-instructional services through school consolidation and shared services. Number 5 is support ongoing training for teachers and administrators to prepare them for implementation of more rigorous college and career-ready Common Core standards and the accompanying assessments being developed through the Smart Balanced Assessment Consortium, of which Michigan is a governing member. And then the last one is help districts pay legacy pension costs to realize the benefits of the true increase in the foundation grant. Those are the priorities from the State Board of Education. And then, item E is, the PESG surcharges, which is in enclosure 6. And then enclosure 7 is a letter about, the Michigan schools and the asbestos class action